Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a wonderful comedian. Joe Scrocca is with me. Joe, how are you doing?
I am well. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Oh, yeah, I'm Scott. That's good. You at least got my name right, Joe. Jesus God. All right, now, Joe, let's start. You're in New Jersey.
South Jersey, below Atlantic City. So I'm in the boondocks.
Were you born and raised in New Jersey?
I was born and raised in Wildwood, New Jersey, and now I live in
Okay.
Upper Township, New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, I've been all through. I used to live in Philadelphia and I did promotion for RCA Records and I would every part of New Jersey there is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I love it. But I understand what you're saying. When you get down there, you're in the boondocks,
We really are Jersey Devil kind of stuff.
Jersey Devil kind of stuff. Are you a big sports guy, Joe?
Believe it or not, I'm not. I mean, I used to like Atlantic City had a minor league hockey team back in the early
Okay,
2000s. And I like that, but that's just everything's Philly. It's expensive, so I don't get into it. I'd rather do stand up.
okay. Well, let's move to stand up. When did you? Well, let me first say this because I wrote this down. You're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. I have a
You're
Linktree account that links to all four accounts.
right. Yeah. No, I just want to make sure because I'm going to put all the links when this airs. I'm going to put the links to all of your, social media. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Well, my background's business. I have an accounting degree. I'm a mortgage broker, and I view this as a business. It's something I take serious. It's not people say, "Oh, it's a nice hobby." I said, "Well, I'm not looking at it as a hobby. I'm looking at it as a possible career." I mean,
Right.
I know guys that are making money. They can have a nice lifestyle on working cruise ships and just working clubs, and you're not Netflix specials or big theaters or anything, but people are making $200,000-300,000 a year, working 6-7 months a year, cruise ships and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you could make a good living doing this.
Well, I think most importantly, Joe, is that you have a good time. I think that for at
That
least I've been
first
doing
and
it.
foremost.
I've been doing it 4.5 years, and I've had a lot of hills and valleys. And I just now I'm starting to feel like at least this concept seems to be very well received.
Yeah, I mean, I'm too new to have the hills and valleys. I probably have had them. I just haven't noticed yet. I just
Okay.
started in December. So it's
Okay. That
it,
was
it's
going to be my next question, Joe. So you just started doing comedy in December.
December 14th. I woke up one day in December and I said, I am sick of dating all these crazy women and I want to
Right.
do something fun with no distractions. I said, let me try stand-up comedy. And I went to an open mic at what it turned out to be a biker bar. And my first gig ever was in front of a notorious, motorcycle club. I won't
Okay.
mention the name, but if you're from Philly, you
Well,
probably know which one.
okay. Well, let's spend a little time there. Uh, How did it go?
It really went well. They weren't paying attention. I mean, it was good for me to get in there, do my first show, get behind a mic, get all the jitters out, see how it went. And the next night I had a little 5 minute set at a little theater in Wildwood. And
Okay.
I just wanted to have one show before that, just to get a feel for what it's like,
Right.
where to hold the mic, how to, you know,
Okay.
try to learn stage presence, stuff like that.
Right.
And that the second show went really well. I mean, it was only a 5 minute set, but it went well.
Okay. Yeah, stage presence. I thought that's when they bring gifts up to the stage for me.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But then they told me no, it was something else. It was something you have to present yourself instead of them presenting you with
Yeah,
gifts.
I'm still waiting for those gifts.
I
Uh,
brought a cart and everything, but no,
it
we
didn't bring them. Well, okay, so in December, when you decided to do comedy, you mentioned that you just had it with all the crazy women and stuff. Is that I find that a lot of comedians tell me that it starts with some kind of dark or something that makes them say, you know what, I just want to do comedy.
Well, I mean, my wife passed away 10 years ago,
Okay, I'm
and
sorry.
we had a great marriage. So thank you. We had a great
Right.
marriage, and I dated a woman after that for about 8 years, which I was in that relationship about 7.5 years too long,
Right, yeah.
and we just, we just agreed it was better to be friends, and that was last August. We broke up,
Okay.
and then I dated a few other crazy women, a heroin addict, a crazy Italian woman, and I said, you know what? I don't have time. It's
Yeah.
really it's an investment in time, an investment in money, an investment
Sure.
in motion, and I
Sure.
said I just want to do something fun with no distractions where I can
Okay.
hopefully get something out of it. And it's been great. I've done about 35 shows since I started,
Wow.
between
Wow.
open mic, yeah, open
That's
mics,
amazing.
contests. I've headlined. I've been featured tonight. I'm a feature in North Jersey, at a place called the Basement Tommy's. So I mean, I'm getting the phone's starting to ring, and it's pretty cool because I've only been doing this about almost 4 months.
Okay. And let me ask you, as far as material, do you are you are you constantly writing new material, or like you said, your second gig you had 5 minutes? How did you call that five? How did you get 5 minutes?
So basically, I knew the guy that owned the theater, and I had more than 5 minutes worth of material already
Oh,
because my
okay.
my 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 show is really it's true stories with embellishment, of course, of
Right.
things that I've lived through. And I'm going to be 63 this month, so I've had a lot of years of a lot of crazy stuff go on, and I've just been
Sure.
able to turn them into funny stories, condensed to where they may, it's a good stage presentation. It's not like if you or I were sitting in the bar, I would tell the story differently, but I've been able to condense them into, little bits and get good laughs. And it's
Why
been
don't
a
you
lot of fun.
why don't you do one for us? Why don't you do one of your favorites?
All right. So when I was a little kid, my mother was convinced that I didn't know my name. So she bought me this ridiculous t-shirt that said, "Hello, my name is Joseph John." And when I think back on that, she was serving me up to the pedophiles on a silver platter with that stupid shirt. So I wear this shirt to school one day, and this guy, as I'm walking home, is driving a van. He says, "Hey, Joseph John, why don't you get in the van? I have some candy." "Hey, Joseph John, why don't you get in the van? I've got a puppy." I didn't know who he was talking to. He said, "My mother was right. I didn't know my name." That's one of the first ones I came up with.
Go ahead, do
That's
another one. Do another one.
um well, I'll tell you what, I did this last night for the first time, and I'm going to put it in my set tonight. I
Go
don't know how
ahead.
it'll go, but so dating's been tough,
Right.
and I got banned from all the dating sites.
Yeah.
And I went on the dating sites, and there's women. I'm 5'6". I'm a sawed off Guido, and I just don't like how these taller women, 5'10", 6'2", they say we don't want to date anybody shorter than us.
Yeah.
So I always like to go in and mess around with them and say, I'm shorter than you. I'm only 5'6", but I have a really big cock. Well, they report me and I get banned from the site. But there was this one woman, 6'3". She gets back to me and she said, "Baby, what would you do to me with that big cock?" I said, "I would climb you like a tree. I would give you a religious experience and make you scream in ecstasy." She says, "Baby, that sounds good. But what can I do to you if my cock's bigger than yours?"
That's a great setup and a great punchline. That's wonderful.
So yeah, that's a
That's
new one.
that's 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 gold, man.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
really good.
And
But these all come from true stories, huh?
well, yeah, the dating sites I've been banned because you know, I just don't like to take shit from people. And
Yeah.
some of these women are so cocky and so rude. You just feel like,
Well,
not that I'm anybody to put them in their place, but I feel like, what the hell? Let me try.
no, Joe, and people that don't know, um, because I lived in Philadelphia and I know Jersey really well, there's a certain amount of toughness to that area. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. At the shore, it's not as bad as if my parents would have stayed in South Philly and I would have grown up there. I probably would have been more of a hood or a mafioso or something. But at the
Right.
shore, it's not as bad. But the
Well,
summertime, you run into some characters and you got to stand your ground. Sure.
well, Joe, the reason I mention that is because, like I've got one coming up for a girl from Kentucky. I did one with a girl from Iowa last week. I just did one from a girl from New York. And it really is different. I didn't realize it because, and I'll just tell you this story real quick. Coming from that area, I'm used to swearing at people. Look, you fucking jerk off. You gotta fuck. No, and I'm being sincere. It's the way, that's the way
That's
I
how we
am.
talk.
That's the way I am. So I got this job working for BMG selling records. And I called a guy in Richmond, Virginia, And I think I was selling Tony Braxton or, one of the records. And he's like, "Oh, I think I'll just take 90." And I'm like, 90? Are you shitting me? What the fuck is wrong with you? 90? This record's a hit. Then he need like 300. He hung up the phone and my boss came down. The next day, I went to Richmond, Virginia to apologize to the guy because you don't speak to people in Richmond, Virginia like you do speak to people in Philly and New Jersey.
Well, that's their problem then, because that's what we're used to.
No,
That's
the
what
only reason I pointed out is because, again, when I went to North Carolina, same scenario. They were calling me a Yankee. Where are you from, boy? I'm from Pennsylvania. We use a goddamn Yankee. I thought you're shitting me. The Civil War ended how long ago?
Oh, they still hold on to some of that stuff. They still hold a grudge. I lived in Atlanta, believe me, I know.
Oh, so you lived in Atlanta. You
For
lived
for
in
for a
you
short
li-
period. My wife was going to Emory Law School down there, and I went down for 6 months.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
I
sorry?
guess I was just trying to make a point that it's so because you said, born and
It is.
raised. Yeah, when you go, like if you do this and you go on a cruise ship or whatever, the stuff that you're like, I don't think you can do that joke about the what if he has a bigger dick than you? That probably won't fly.
Well, I know the cruise ship, you have to clean it up. I mean, I've
Yeah,
got clean material.
yeah,
There's stuff I can do that really, it is more quote unquote family friendly or prude friendly. But, I think, I don't use vulgarity just to use vulgarity. I think when I
right,
use
right,
when I use it, it's to make a point.
right.
And I usually close every set with the story about I say people I want to wrap up by telling you a cute story about the first time I had sex with a prostitute.
Yeah, I
And
love that. Go ahead, do that. I love that bit because
so
before you do it,
it
I
was
know I
1978,
know that
Atlantic City,
area.
New Jersey.
I know resorts when it opened and all
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah, do it.
it's a true story.
Yeah, go ahead and do
Yeah,
it.
so 1978, Atlantic City, New Jersey. I was 17 years old. Resorts International just opened up. You had to be 18 to gamble, so I had a fake ID and a $10 bill, and I hit on a slot machine for a little over $500. So I looked at that money and I said, you know what? I'm going to go out and have sex with a prostitute. So I ran out to Pacific Avenue where all the prostitutes hung out.
Right.
And there was a woman that I thought, by the way she was dressed, was a prostitute, but I wanted to be polite. So I said, "Excuse me, miss, are you a prostitute?" She said, "Are you the police?" I said, "No, ma'am, I'm just a 17-year-old kid that wants to have his first sexual experience with a prostitute." She said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, how much does it cost?" She said, "How much do you have?" I said, "I have $500. She said, "Well, I usually charge more than that, but you're cute. So how about a blowjob?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Show me the money." So I showed her the money. She said, "Follow me." So we walk around the corner. We go into this building that said hotel, but it looks more like what I would imagine a crack house would look like. So she hands a front desk clerk some money and he sets an egg timer for 10 minutes. We start walking up some stairs. I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to ask my mother to take me to the doctor's tomorrow for a shot of penicillin? Because I'm going to need it. So we get in the room, get on the bed. She says, "Take your dick out." I said, "Sure, that's what I'm here for." She puts a rubber in her mouth and starts putting it on my cock with her mouth. Halfway done, that's it. I'm done. I come. She said, "Oh, honey, that's too bad." I said, "No, no, no. I'm young. I have stamina. Keep going. I can come again." She says, "Oh, no, no. It's one and done. Easy come, easy go." I said, "But there's like 5 minutes left on the egg timer. Come on." She says, "No, honey, that's it. You have a good day." And she leaves. So I clean myself up. And, I'm walking out of this place. And as I'm walking out, I come up with three life lessons that I like to share with everybody. The first one is never tell the prostitute that it's your first time with a prostitute. Second, never tell the prostitute how much money you have. And third, guys, this is most important. Always negotiate that second shot on goal because you're going to want to come again. And that's how I usually end my set. And it's usually ends with a good laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I watched, I didn't get to see the whole thing, but I watched part of that today. And like I said, for me, I remember when resorts opened up, and that's why I guess because you said you're 63, I'm 61, I'll be
Okay.
62 in August. And, I remember, I actually have a story about my friend. We were in Atlantic City. It's not as good as your story, but it's true. I went with my brother and his buddy, and I forgot about it till you just reminded me. I went with my brother and my buddy, and I was only probably 16 years old, and they got me drunk, and I got so drunk I was puking. this is terrible, but I'm puking there on, and they had double beds in this hotel room. And I woke up at like 2 in the morning, hungover as hell, and they had two hookers with them. And my buddy, I wake up, my buddy's getting a blowjob from the one girl, and I don't know what he was doing. And I start hollering at him, and I'm drunk. I'm like, the fuck are you doing bringing these prostitutes in here? Jesus Christ, I'm drunk. Oh my God, they could have killed me because they spent their money, and I don't even think they even got the first shot on goal.
That's funny. That's funny. Listen, Atlantic City was crazy like that. I mean, when resorts
Yeah,
first opened up, I mean, it was really the Wild West between the casinos, the hookers, the drugs.
yeah,
It was nasty. It was a nasty place. It still is.
yeah,
But no,
yeah. It still is. My son lives in Vegas, and that's a whole nother poison cocktail.
okay. Yeah, I've been to Vegas a couple times, vacation and whatnot. But yeah, it's a casino's a casino. You're gonna lose your money whether it's in
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Jersey or Vegas or wherever.
It's
So
funny is I don't gamble.
I don't either.
My
That was
son
probably
lives
one of
in
the only
Vegas.
times I've ever gambled. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that true? You got $500.
Yeah. Yeah. I had $10. I think they had the machines the first day. I think they had the machines set up to pay out just to lure people in because this thing just kept hitting and hitting. And I had all these quarters. And what am I going to do with all these quarters? And the security guard comes over here. You put them in the cup and you take them to that
That
area
man
that says
there,
cashier and you turn them into bills.
right?
Okay. Oh, that's cool. And,
Yeah,
and yeah. And,
that's great.
but yeah, thank goodness I didn't get any diseases, but God, it was,
Hey, it gave you material. Joe,
know,
I just met you, but I love what you're doing because um, I think that the best comedy, and I'll say this, that to me, there are stand-up comedians, and then there's this TikTok, Instagram, we make videos people. And they're two totally different things. Because what you're doing, I grew up on, and I got to meet him, Rodney Dangerfield and Henny Youngman, and the old comics that stood there and did, went to the Tonight Show and did comedy. And these pranks and these videos with bullshit, I don't have time for that. That's just not me. So I really admire
I mean,
someone like
some
you.
of them are funny, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I was
thank
just going
you.
to say, I admire what you're doing, where you're taking life experiences and making them funny.
Well, they really were funny and they are funny. It's just, but you have to make them, like I said, if you and I were sitting at the bar and I tell you the story, it may take me 15, 20 minutes to tell you one of the stories. Well, you can't do that on stage.
Yeah, right.
So, I've taken the best parts out and believe it or not, it's a process. People say, oh, it's funny. You just have this stuff in your head. No, I'll sit upstairs and my son that you met earlier, Joey, he works with me and I actually whiteboard the stuff and I break it down. Okay. I cut out words. I try to use,
Okay,
optimize it to keep it as short as possible without losing anything in the story
okay.
that makes it funny. And then, once I get it to a point, then I go test it at an open mic or two. And then if it works out, like last night, I tested that one about
Yeah,
the
that was great.
dating sites at an open mic and it went well, but that was the first time I did it. And I just kind of put that together over the last couple of days. And, so I'm going to try tonight at a
Well,
show that I'm doing. And
I didn't mean to piss on your son or you doing that.
yeah,
It's just not my cup of tea. I've gotten, you know what, I have 5,700 videos up and they're all just one-liners or just jokes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When I do my live shows, I've done 105 live YouTube lives. They're
Okay.
just stories and jokes and stories and jokes, and there's no da 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 da. I don't do the dancing around bullshit.
Well, I've never done any when I tell you I literally woke up in December to do this, no experience, never acted, never took an acting class, never took a comedy class, never read a book on how to do stand up. I mean, I literally just got up and said, "Okay, let me see if the stuff that I think is funny is really funny."
Yeah,
And so far so good. People are laughing. I mean, I'm getting good responses from crowds.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what you. Well, maybe I'm wrong here. I don't want to sound arrogant or whatever, but I worked in the music business, and I worked with a lot of big stars, and I worked with some that never became stars, and there's a reason why they never became stars. They just didn't have it. And
Right.
just a little bit now, we just met. I've only known you for 20 minutes, half hour now, but you have it. You don't have you could go up on stage anywhere. There's no stage fright. You have presence. I think you will do really well, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. So I really appreciate it because, I always look for validation from other comics. I mean, the audience is great, and I love when they come up and talk to me and tell me how funny I am and everything, and I love it. But when other comics, guys like you that are professionals that do comedy, that have podcasts, that talk to a lot of comedians, I mean, to hear that really, it makes me feel good and said, well, maybe I'm not as crazy as everybody
No, you're
tells me
not
I
at
am.
all. Joe, you're as good as anybody out there. And here's again, I've talked to and met a lot of great comedians and picked up stuff. That's one of the things that happens over 4.5 years. You start learning timing and different things. But be true to yourself and do what like you don't have a problem talking about your dick in the prostitute. Now there's people no, because there's people that are going to be offended and they're not going to be they're not going to be your,
Right.
and that's fine. That's
Eh,
one
eh,
I had to stay true to. I do a lot of really dark material.
okay.
And did you say do one? Should I do one?
Absolutely. Let's hear it.
All right, I'll do this one. What is black and blue and doesn't like to have sex?
What's that?
The woman that's locked in my basement. Now,
That's funny you say that because the place that I'm playing tonight is called the Basement at Tommy's, and I think I'm the first comic going up. And I was going to open up with something like, "Oh man, the basement. This is where all the fun times were when I was a kid. Where I had my first beer, smoked my first joint,
right,
felt
right, right.
felt up my first girl, and now it's where I lock up." The
Yeah.
women after I'm through with them
Well,
or something like
uh,
it's funny that you say that because
well,
but I
and the point I was trying to make, not that I know anything, Joe. Honestly, I don't.
you do, but I'll
Well, no, but that kind of joke, there's going to be, in other words, you've seen some of the numbers I have, and I'm not tooting
right,
my own horn to subscribe, but
right.
I'll lose 100 or so doing that kind of joke. I save them for the YouTube lives because if I do, like I had a joke this week, went to almost 10,000 views, and it's stupid. What's a policeman's favorite kind of sweater?
What?
A pullover. It's stupid. It's dad joke material, but yet YouTube and their analytics and shit, whatever they put it in, and it blew up.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
No, and that's where the social media part of it. I'll do one more for you, and it's just so that you can look with your son Joey and everything you're doing. I had a joke on Instagram, and I've been doing this 4.5 years, and my phone, sometimes it'll go off. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Well, my phone started going off and going off and going off and going, and I thought, what the hell's going on? Over on Instagram, one of my jokes went to, I think it's around 300,000 views right now.
holy, that's wonderful.
And I'll do the joke for you. And I think it's a sign of the times. If I had a nickel for every racist thing I ever said, some Mexican would probably rob me. But that joke, and the reason I think it did so well is because look at the border, look at what's going on, and people are fed up with the bullshit.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. I don't cross over into that, the political,
No, I
racial, the
don't either. I don't
religious,
either.
and I'm too new to get canceled. I don't want to get canceled yet. I need to get bigger before I can get canceled. But
You
no,
shouldn't worry
it's
about that.
I,
You shouldn't
I
worry
believe
about
that
that shit.
comedy. I mean, oh, well, and I don't, but I think I came up with the word pussification. I mean, we've pussified these last
Pussification.
two generations. These last two generations of kids. They need safe spaces. They get offended at just live your life. If somebody says something and it doesn't impact your ability to live where you want to live, get a job, eat, live your life, then it's just bullshit. Why do you care? And I just think that people have gotten so overly sensitive and offensive. And I don't want those people in my audience. I don't want those people coming out to see me because I don't want people leaving saying, oh, that guy was terrible. He was offensive. He was just, no, I'm not. I'm a comedian. It's an art. It's the guy that is on stage isn't me. I'm not going to go out to a restaurant with somebody and start talking the way I talk on stage. And
Yeah,
this is when
right.
people say, "Oh, you're a comedian. Tell me something funny." I said, "Well, really, that's what I do for my job, and I'm on stage doing it. When it's hard for me to turn myself on
Yeah.
just anywhere, because it really is a different person. It's almost like I'm standing
Sure,
outside of myself, looking at this
sure.
guy like, what the hell's this guy? That guy looks like me. What the hell's he doing up on that stage? It really is. And but it's neat and I love it. But it's an act. It's not, you know,
Sure.
unfortunately with my stuff, it is a lot of true stuff, to a certain degree. Some
Right.
stuff's, it's embellished, but everything that I talk about has some truth in it as far as an experience that I've had over my life.
Yeah,
But
Joe, like I said, I just am really impressed for, the short time that you're doing it. You're like a pro.
thank you. When I thank you for that, I sincerely appreciate it. It makes me feel so good because, um, I have no gauge. I have no idea, you know, no real timeline to say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm getting better. So when people come up to me and who know, like you said, you've talked to hundreds, thousands, seen hundreds of comics, and for you to compliment me like this, it's just beyond,
Well, Joe, listen,
flattering and humbling.
we're gonna keep in touch. In other words, we're gonna do another one of these if you're into it and you had it.
Absolutely.
We'll do another one 6 months down the road, and I'll keep up with you because this is what I want to do right now. This is where I'm at. Someone asked me, "Is this all I do?" Well, I hope so. I hope to do this. I hope to keep doing these type of Zoom because you mentioned as far as kids today, and I'm going to put, believe it or not, pussification. When I air this, it's going to be hashtag pussification
Absolutely.
because I agree with you, and I don't. I think there's another part of that, Joe, and I'm showing my age and old codger being a curmudgeon, whatever you say. But kids today they don't know how to have a conversation. They don't, and there's studies that they're now paying, parents are paying to teach their kid to talk to people. And
That's
pussification, that
insane.
just there put some whipped topping on it. So
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
believe is conversations like you and I are having, and I hope to continue to do these with people all over the country, all over the world. I've done them all over. I've had England. I had a guy with a duck. You know, I don't give a shit. I just enjoy talking to people and having them on, and I think people will enjoy watching it.
And we appreciate it that you give us this forum to get, to interview us and let us promote,
Yeah.
ourselves, our shows and whatnot. We really do. We're
Well,
very appreciative of what you do for us and for the audience that you have. Cause I'm sure, they tune in to see, hey, this is a new comic. This guy's really, thanks for
even
turning me on to this guy or this
Joe, even
gal.
if it's friends and family watching, I did one last night with a fella, and I'm sure he's sharing it with his friends and family, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, but it's just cool that you offer this forum, and
Well,
I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm sure everybody that you've
I,
interviewed is
I hope
more
it
than
continues.
appreciative.
Well, Joe, we don't have a lot of time left, so I want to make sure that we cover that you mention everything you have coming up. And like tonight, you're doing the
Yep.
basement.
Right, the basement of Tommy's up in Bergenfield,
Okay, this
and
won't air probably for a week or two. So
right,
what are
that's
the
what I
upcoming
figured.
days you have?
Yes, so I've got the week of the 21st of April. I've got a big lineup. The 24th, I open the Meadowlands Comedy Festival at the Roosevelt in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Wow.
On Thursday, the 25th, I'm doing my own show that I produced in Atlantic City at the Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. I've
Okay.
got No Filter Paul Field on that. I've got Dave Hodge on that and Mike Tansey, three really
Okay.
unbelievably great, talented comics.
Okay.
Friday, believe it or not, I'm going up to Wilkes-Barre, PA. I was able to wrangle a 5-minute set for Steve Trevino for his show
Okay.
at the Kirby Theater. He's given me 5 minutes
I've
after
been
he
to I've been there.
performs,
I've been to the
and then
Kirby
I'm on
Center.
on Sat.
I've been to the Kirby
Okay,
Center. Yeah.
yeah, and
Nice place.
that's going to be a wild show. And then Saturday, I'm back in New York City for the Meadowlands Comedy Festival at the world famous Copacabana. And then Saturday, I guess that's the Saturday the 28th or Sunday the 28th, I'll be at Hudson Burgers and Beers closing out the festival. And then from there, I've got May 9th is a show that I'm producing at Anglesey Pub in North Wildwood, New Jersey. And
Okay.
on the 24th of May, I've got a place called Miss Siley's Blues in Turnersville, New Jersey, for Elijah the Barber, who's a great guy who had a lot of faith and put me on stage for my sixth performance for a 10-minute set, and he loves me, and I love him. He's a great guy, and he gave me an opportunity that I'm going to tell you, I don't think I deserved, but he thinks I did deserve it. So
You
I'll
deserve it.
defer to him.
Okay. Boy, you're busier than the centipede of the toe counting contest.
That would be busy. I don't know if I'm that busy, but
You're
that's
busy.
close.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, my man, listen, we're getting to that time.
The minute.
You know it. You know it. I love it just because I like to keep some kind of structure. I want to say first and foremost, thanks for being here. And you really are top shelf, even though you've only been doing it a short period. You're really good.
Thank you so
And I
much.
think you're going to go far. But
Thank you.
anyway, it's time for your comedy minute with my buddy Joe Scrocca.
Oh, well, I am a huge, huge fan of Mel Brooks, but his movie, The Producers,
Yep.
anything from that movie, any line, whether it's Didn't I Meet You on a Summer Cruise or I Want My Blue Blankie. I mean,
Right.
I could, there's nothing in that movie that doesn't make me laugh. I could watch it once a week, and I probably do. Don't tell anybody. But yeah, it's just that was that's a movie that I think really just kind of defined my love of comedy comedy movies, going out and seeing live comedians, and that I love to laugh. Who doesn't love to laugh? But that
Yeah.
movie makes me laugh and makes me appreciate any time I could watch something or see someone or see a group, and I could get a good laugh out of it.
And that's it. Do you want to know what my favorite movie of all time is?
Of course, I do.
Harlem Nights.
Okay,
Have you ever seen Harlem Nights?
I have not. I'll have to watch it this
Harlem
weekend.
Nights is Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Della Reese. It's all black. The whole cast is black.
Listen, I
Oh my God, that
uh,
movie. And I'm not proud to admit this, Joe, but I know every line from the beginning to the very end.
so you probably watch that once a week, like I watch The Producers once a
I
week.
got Mr. Raymond's cigarettes. One in the back. Tell that old frog faced crab voice dude, take his slow walking ass back there and bring back the money. Otherwise, I'm
That
gonna stick your ass. I'm gonna stick him, and I'm most definitely stick his
that,
little
that
Yankee ass
that's
bad luck motherfucker standing here.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that movie is just too much.
I didn't see that movie, but the lineup. I mean, got Eddie Murphy. I'm Italian, and I love when Eddie Murphy does the bit about the Italian guys, yo
Yeah,
cuz.
yeah,
It's I rolled off my chair laughing when I saw him do that the
yeah.
first time.
All
So,
right,
but
my friend. Well,
all right,
look, like I said, I'm so glad to have had you on, and
thank you.
we'll check back in a month, in a couple months, and unless you got anything else, I guess we'll call it.
No, listen, I appreciate the time. And again, thank you so much for having me on and the kind words. It inspires me to go out and do better based on what you just told me. So the show tonight's going to be really special.
I'm only listen. We're now friends on Facebook and stuff. I'm only a message away anytime. Okay,
Thank you so much.
hang in
Ha-
there for a second. I'm going to stop the recording, but I want to talk to you for a minute or two off the
Absolutely.
record.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks again, Joe. Hang tight.
Thank you.